In the second part of this tutorial I will show you how to properly light the scene and setting up the principal material of this scene. So let's begin. As you can see, compared from the previous one, I have added some decor for the scene, like this table with this lamp and some props, these books, these plants, and this picture frame here. I have also add carpet, a little bit of carpeting here that I set it up after in this tutorial for using Vray for material. So for this tutorial, first of all, we can create the first light for this scene. I think Vray area rectangle light is best for this. And I'm going to my render settings, select renderer Vray bridge, go to Vray bridge and set it up to bucket, and in direct sample irradiance map light gauge for quick preview. Standard setup is good, pixel setup is good. So with this light we can create the first light for my scene. So I create this small light to have a sharpest shadow from it and put it up properly by rotating it in my scene. So let's see what happens after set up the first light. Okay, nothing has happened, sorry, because I have the light is too low in power, so I increase the power of this lamp to 200 watts, I think is good, and set it up my display to quick shading mode, and I think it's time to set up my Vray physical camera to film ISO maybe 400 and shutter speed maybe 50 and see what happens. Okay, I have too much light now, so stop it and reset this to 100 and see what happens. Okay, I think the basic lighting is good, and for this that I will use only one light to create a very dark shadow like this, but I think at this moment we must rotate a bit the light because I don't want this ugly shadow in this area. So take my light and we can rotate a bit and see what happens. Nothing changed, so it's sorry, because in the area light only things is the position that influence the direction of my lights, and maybe we can check if bidirectional is double sizes. We can try to uncheck in your light normals and see what happens now. Okay, I think it's better position shadow, but I think it's not good here, so I stop it. And maybe we can replace it. Maybe we can try this position now. Okay, we have the same problem before, so now stop it and rotate a bit. Nothing happens, so we must find a good position. I think it's better now. So delete the previous render and see what happened in this test. I really like this contrast with this illuminated area and this very dark area of this chair. But I think you have to rotate a bit, so a bit on the right the lights and see what happened now. Okay. Okay, if we compare with the previous one, this is a very good dramatic lighting because I have this contrasted area here that's bring out the detail of my chair. That is the principal actor in my views, and I think it's now time to set it up the Vray Fure for this ugly carpet here. So stop it, save, go to my carpet, and in the Vray bridge tags and Vray Fure tag on it. This controls here control all the parameters of the Vray particle that create the fure for the carpet, and the last thing to do is duplicate this carpet and this one delete the tag. That's because we want to create a base for my carpet, and I think it's a good idea to add a little bit of shell to it, but we don't have any deformer for do this quickly, so I'm gonna make it editable. Select this and create a little bit of gaps, create caps, and there we go. We are this one we must put it gosh, where is okay. So I think here is good. So now we can set it up on a length of 3 centimeter, for example. Thickness of 0.1 I think is good. Gravity and bend, let's take it to default for now. And I think we're gonna to increase this distribution of 0.5 for a good start, and see what happened with the render region tool here. Okay, As you can see, we have created our basic setup, but I think the distribution is too low and the length is too high, so set it up the length to 1 and the distribution to 1.5. I think it's good. So what happened now? I think it's too low again, so increase the distribution to 3, doubling it, render region, see what happened. Good. Maybe we can try with 4 and the region here. There we go. We have created the basic Vray viewer for my carpet. So now it's time to set up the environment for my scene. So I'm going to my environment settings on Vray for Cinema 4D. Go to my content browser and use this under the bridge HDRI. This is default HDRI preset on Cinema 4D. Put it here on my environment and let's see what happens now. Okay, as you can see, by using the HDRI in my environment, that brings up to the scene an environmental light that is spherical, so it's constant on all the scene related with the HDRI settings, so it's washed out my shadow, but I think I don't really like it, but it's important for me to have an environment to fake reflection and other things in my scene for my material, so I wanna to X this out with render settings. So I'm going to my color mapping, and I think it's to to my dark multiply, it's to set it up to 0.5. I think is the right value to increase the darkness of my shadows. I'm not really sure, so we test it. Yes, good. As you can see, by tweaking this value, I have increased the value of my shadow to return in a situation similar to the previous one. I really like this kind of effect, so I think the only thing we are gonna do now is to create a little bit of bouncing light on this area. I think with a simple plane it's good to create this effect, and I think it's important to increase a bit the exposure of this scene. So go to my camera to increase it, and maybe we can try with film ISO of 200 by doubling it. And for a quick side wall, I duplicate this, move it up, see what happens in my viewport. Okay, good. I think it's what I want. Let's see what happens now. Okay, as you can see, I have increased my lighting, and I think it's good in this area. It's maybe a little bit bright, too bright, but I think it's good for now. And in this area we have increased the light too, so I really like it. I note that my books are fly over, so I'm going to take it. We have the wrong position of my, and put it up on the floor. Okay. So, I think the last thing to do to close this chapter is create, reduce a little bit the highlights here. So I want to go to my color mapping and set it up to maybe exponential. Okay, let's see what happens now. Okay, as you can see, the books are good, and I have removed this too bright area here. I think it's a good start. Maybe we can tweak this out later, but for me now is good. Maybe we can try to increase a little bit my overall exposure. So go to my camera here on Vray tag, go to my exposure, and maybe we can try to set up my f-stop to 7.1. And maybe we can add ambient occlusion with a radius of 5 centimeter. No, maybe 10 is good, and 0.6 of amount. And also we can, well, maybe it's good. Everything is good, so let's see what happens now. Okay, as you can see, I've increased too much the lighting now, so I think it's a good idea to reduce a bit the exposure of my camera, but I think the ambient occlusion brings out some details that I really like it, like here, as you can see, or there, on my windows. I really like it. Last thing to do for this chapter, I think, is create new shader, Vray Bridge Advanced Material, and name it Glass for the windows too, because the environment can influence my room from the windows. So I'm gonna add material to it. Go to this, activate refraction, set it up to 1.4, and activate specular layer. And we have create our basic glasses. So I'm going to my camera and set it up to return to 8, fixed exposure increment, 200, 50, oh gosh, 7.5. It's not good for this, so 80. Maybe we can try with 70, 140. See what happens. So delete it and let's compare the newest one with the previous one. I think it's too heavy again, so stop it. And for tweak this, I think it's a good idea to reduce a little bit our lighting, or maybe we can try with our color mapping bright multiplier to 0.9. maybe we can fix it quickly. As you can see, if I zoom it, it brings up to some details from this chair by reducing the bright power, and for now I think it's good, but maybe we can tweak this out later. Maybe we can try to reduce a bit to 0.7 maybe, and see what happens now. With the previous render selected, as you can see here, with this glass set it up on my window, I have the reflection on this frame on it, and the background that gives me from the ambient occlusion. Probably in the last render I will override this background with a photographic background. So I think this is a good setup for lighting. Maybe we can tweak this out a bit in the next tutorial with after the setting of my material. So stay tuned, see you on the next tutorial. Bye.